There it is. Good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your boy CB with DG3, and this is episode 46 of the Del Valley Sports Pod, going live on YouTube and Twitter and internet streaming places across the world. And how are you, brother?
What's up, boys? How we doing? What's up,
Pretty
guys?
good. How are we?
Doing good. Doing good.
Good to be back. A little bit of a layoff. We got our last little bits of summer in before we now lock into football. We got the football. We got playoff stretch run. It's a good time to be a sports fan, and I cannot wait to just live it up with you. This is going to be a lot of fun. Big stuff to talk about. Cut down day in the NFL. Phillies are playing live. We may or may not be watching it on the side. Hopefully, we won't get distracted. Actually, we're professionals. We won't get distracted. We're good. Dan, how real quick, producer Pat's wedding, how was it?
Oh my gosh, it was phenomenal. Absolutely fantastic time. His wife Natalie's family was in the States for the first time. They get to be in the States for like a month, basically. It was over at Bethany Beach. Their first time seeing the ocean, my friend.
What?
And you probably know more about this than me, but apparently deep out in the waters, there's some kind of hurricane going on that weekend. You're usually
there was
the weather guy.
Yeah, there was a storm. I mean, it didn't affect anybody other than Bermuda, and it was way out there. But I'm sure it affected like swimming.
The waves were humming. The waves were humming, brother. So I'm
sure
not sure how accurate their representation is of Delaware beaches, but it was pretty electric. It was a great time, man. Very call
wonderful. Auto Rocket in the Rhino because the swells are going to be huge, bro.
Brother. It was incredible. Great week.
No, so good. I'm glad to hear it went well. I know we touched on that last time, and you had to take some time off, so now you're grinding. I don't want to keep you here too late tonight. A lot of work.
I will say this. I think I mentioned it on the last pod that they went to a Phillies game last week? Last Tuesday?
Against the Marlins.
The Marlins, and that overall that series was not bad for us, but they unfortunately went to the one game where the Phillies did not score a single run. So you know who really took the show and who was really entertaining that night?
Who?
The Fanatic, baby. Who they don't speak a lot of English. They're from Ukraine, and they called him the Giant Green Chicken. And they loved him. They loved him.
That is a very accurate description of somebody who doesn't know what the Fanatic is. Awesome. And we don't even know what he is.
And and actually, like, Jillian and I got like little gift bags for everyone in the family, and something that we had in each bag was a Phillies hat, and each one was a different version. And funny enough, one of them was the version of the Philly Fanatic hat they've had this year. So when that one came out of the bag, it was electricity. So shout out to the Philly Fanatic. Found love in a hopeless place that night.
There you did. Keeping the people entertained when they lost to a team they shouldn't have lost to. But I think I almost want to talk Phillies now since we're on it, because that was the jumping point the next day.
The segue's right there. Let's start off with this, and this actually might swing us back in the other direction here, Colin.
Hit me.
You might be wondering what episode it is.
It is episode number 46,
which means it's the John Durnballs episode, dude.
Oh my God.
The greatest long snapper in Philadelphia Eagles history. Keeps the boys entertained at the same time, too.
I was going to say he might even be more famous for his other things and not being a long snapper.
His sleight of hand in both facets.
Great human being, by the way. I met him in the hotel in Arizona. Really nice guy. I mean, literally could not have been a nicer human being.
That was the same time you met Sirianni, right? No? Was that
Howie?
Yes.
I didn't meet Howie, but I was next to him in the elevator.
Hey, so. Be cool.
What's up, boys?
Cool. Yeah, dude. One thing, I think you probably remember this. I think we all probably remember that he actually he was supposed to go to the Saints kind of at the end of his career, but then he had a really serious disease or something heart related. It was something, I think it was like an aortic aneurysm, and he needed like heart surgery. But what I had forgotten is that the Eagles actually had traded him to the Saints for a 7th round pick. Now, I know it's just a 7th round pick, but dude, how how many long snappers are getting traded for anything, dude? That was
No
pretty
one.
impressive, I thought.
If you get capital back for a long snapper, he's probably pretty damn good. But now that you bring that up, I remember, because if it wasn't for that physical he had to take to get onto the Saints, he could have died because this was an underlying issue that he had no idea about. Nobody did. So,
yeah,
I mean, some things are meant to be, and I'm really glad that the Eagles traded him, saved his life.
Give me chills. Give me chills. So yeah, shout out John Dornbos episode. I'm probably saying that last name wrong. It's tough to say.
Dornbos, you got it right.
Dornbos. All right.
Yeah. It's funny. You're the guy who doesn't live in Philadelphia now, but you still have trouble pronouncing last names like a true Philadelphian. That one was not one of them, however. You nailed it. So, yeah. Thank you for that segue. That is perfect because today was one of the big days in the NFL offseason, at least when it comes to leading into the true beginning of the season. It was cut down day. All 32 teams needed to find 53 players for their official rosters. And the Eagles only had a few surprises. We can go through them real quick. I think the big one that we want to talk about is probably the fact that they kept James Bradbury. And they went pretty heavy on defense. They only kept 22 players on the offense, 2 tight ends, which is atypical for them, 5 wide receivers, which is, again, atypical. They usually go 3 tight ends, 6 wide receivers. But earlier today, sorry?
5 on this list.
Yeah, they typically take 6, but they only kept 5 this year. I think part of that is that they put Aeneas Smith on the injured list, so he will be eligible to return at some point. And they only kept 2 tight ends. Okay. Only three running backs as well, but you're not going to keep 4 running backs with Saquon Barkley. That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I think
I feel like usually you have a running back on the practice squad.
And they
worst case scenario, you kind of shift that.
Exactly. They will have a running back on the practice squad. God forbid Saquon gets hurt. They'll be able to elevate him. But they only kept 3 on the active roster. They're allowed to keep a lot of people on defense. Another real quick thing. They only kept 9 offensive linemen and no true backup center after they released Dylan McMahon, their 6th round center draft pick from this last draft. The only rookie that was cut. How do you feel about that? With Cam Jurgens being his first time as full-time center and there's no true backup for him.
It makes me think that they must have really thought that he sucked, to be honest with you, because I feel like history has shown that they really, really believe in development of offensive linemen. I would say history shows that pretty clearly. Big catch there by Marshy in center field. So for them to so quickly cut a guy, they must really have not liked something. I don't know about him or his play or whatever. That's surprising to me.
You got to think Stoutland knows what he's looking at. So if this guy couldn't cut it, then they cut him. So,
yeah.
The one guy I read that they are pretty high on is Darian Kennard as a backup. That is, he's pretty good at going between guard and tackle. And I love the fact that they signed Mekhi Becton. He's a I think 5th overall pick by the Jets 3 or 4 years ago, and just completely did not pan out for them. We get him, and now he's our starting guard when it was expected to be Tyler Steen, and Steen's now the backup.
You have to just Google Darian Kennard and see like the first picture that pops up.
Yeah, okay, I'll have to do that. What do you think about them keeping James Bradbury, who went from cornerback to safety, and he does not play special teams. So he's a guy on the roster that may not play at all, and it was kind of odd that they kept him on there.
See, I don't think it's odd. I actually expected it. Did you see the picture?
Yes. I encourage all of you. Look up
be
Darian
worth your
Kennard.
time. He looks like a freaking pirate.
Oh my god! Sorry, I almost lost it there. That is hilarious.
Yeah. No, I figured you were probably like, okay, Dan, sure. But trust me, it's worth a look. It's pretty
An
funny.
immediate LOL there.
But yeah, I'm not surprised at all, Colin, because of his contract, dude. His contract is gross. And if they cut him, there'd be I looked at it a couple pods ago. I have it in front of me. If they cut him, there'd be like a ton of dead money. Like I can understand why they would want to at least wait a little bit longer, unless someone else, blew them away in camp. That contract is gross, dude. It is not a good situation as far as it relates to the player value and the money that they're stuck with.
Yeah, that's the only reason he's probably still on the team is the fact that they're paying him money. And I think they're going to hope to trade him for something, trade him as a piece to another team, and they didn't want to just give him away if they could find at least some capital to recoup. But I have a feeling he's not going to see the field, whether he gets traded or just doesn't dress, because Sidney Jones is going to be back at some point. I don't know the exact time frame, but as soon as Sidney Jones is back playing safety, Bradbury's out of here. I mean, they were talking all camp how he was having trouble getting acclimated to safety coming from cornerback, and we saw it last year. I mean, he lost a step and a half as a 31-year-old defensive back. Safety's a little bit better in that position where you don't have to follow a wide receiver down the field, but I don't know. Of all the people they kept, that was the one surprise for me, but you bring up a very good point, his contract. I did not consider that. But yeah, 11 defensive backs. Feels like a lot. Because it is. 5 linebackers. They got 6 edge rushers and 6 D tackles. Milton Williams going to have a big year. You're here to hear first. Uh-oh. Did we lose Dan? Oh, man, we lost Dan. All right, well, I'm going to go then. He will probably be back. I have a feeling Milton Williams is going to have a very good year. I'm also looking forward to seeing what Jalix Hunt has to offer. He had a really good first preseason game. I'm not going to lie to any of you. I watched like 10 minutes of the first preseason game, and I haven't watched any since. I have come to the realization that I despise preseason football. It's pretty much – it's worse than the USFL or it's the UFL now. I mean, it's just worthless watching. You're watching guys you never heard of, and they're not going to play in the NFL. Yeah, it's football, and I watched the Hall of Fame game for like a quarter because it was the first football since February. But after that, I'm like, I don't know. I used to watch preseason, and I feel like the starters used to play more. They did. They at least played a quarter. The offensive starters did not play in the preseason. And you can have the argument of rest, don't get them injured, whatever, coming in with a new system with Kellen Moore. I can't say either way. There's no stats that say it's better or worse. So they're going into week 1 not injured, which is good. But I have a feeling they're not going to look the best on the road in Brazil for the first quarter. Might be some sloppy play. I hope I'm wrong, but that's my take on it. Yeah, let's see here. Kobe Dean, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., and Devin White will be the 3 main starting linebackers. Decent edge rushers. Nolan Smith, Brandon Graham, Bryce Huff. Defense is going to be way better than they were last year, I have a feeling, especially with Vic Fangio at the helm. Hello, Dan. Welcome back.
Hey. Sorry about that.
Nope, you're good.
I'm confused. Mm-hmm. When I cut out there, you were saying Sidney Jones? Am I being extremely forgetful?
Or
Sidney Jones?
Or is it Sidney Brown?
You can't mean Sidney Jones.
Sidney Brown. That's my fault.
Sidney Brown. Okay.
Sidney Brown.
Sidney Jones. Sidney Jones used to be on the team years ago.
Yes. Former second-round pick who they took a flyer on. Was on the Super Bowl team.
Okay.
Even though he was he just didn't pan out with injuries and whatnot. That was my fault. Yeah, Sidney Brown. Sidney Brown, not Sidney Jones.
Sidney Jones, Conklin made one of his videos off of Sidney Jones, and he did a spin off of me and Mrs. Jones, Sidney Jones. Classic.
Joe Conklin is a beauty. I mixed up two words there. You ever do that? I mixed up gem and beauty, and he's a Judy, not Jerry Judy.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yes. I don't know what I missed out on in my absence there, but
not much. I was just kind of going through the defense and talking about players I liked. I think Milton Williams. This was right when you went frozen there. Milton Williams, I think he's going to have a good year behind Carter and Davis.
He was good last year. He was underrated.
Jalix Hunt, their rookie pick on the edge. I want to see what Bryce Huff has because I did not get to see him much on the Jets last year. And, I mean, he's not going to be as good as why am I blanking on his name? The guy that went to the Jets.
Hassan Reddick.
Yes. He's not going to be as good as Reddick, but I am looking forward to seeing what he has. Might be a double-digit sack guy. We'll see what Nolan Smith has.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Graham's swan song, and Josh Sweat. I mean, their average age, other than Brandon Graham on the defensive line, I think it's like 25. Like they have a lot of really good young pieces.
Yeah, I'm really curious about this. So we get a nice little double here by our guy Hayes, lead off the inning. I'm curious to see how this Reed Blankenship year goes. I feel like last year he really surpassed the bar. Like I thought he had a very impressive year last year, especially for the standard that we kind of had him at. And now I guess he's going to be playing back there with CJ GJ. So that could be fun. That could be interesting. I'm curious to see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm too. I'm curious. To
me.
See what?
I'm a big fan. I think that there's just so much chemistry involved in the secondary and knowing what the other guys are going to do and being on the same page. So I'm for defense as a whole, but especially for secondary, I'm a big don't overreact the first 3-4 weeks. Give those guys some time to understand playing with each other. But I am excited to see if they can figure it out back there.
Yeah. Wasn't Blankenship hurt at the end of the season? Or am I only
think
thinking
he was.
Yeah. But he's fine now, right? He's not banged up anymore.
Yeah, I think he's good to go.
I cannot wait to see what Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell bring to the table and whether they're going to truly pan out. Cooper Sharp DeJean.
Dude. Ah, man, if he's awesome.
I hope so. They spent a second-round pick on him. Well, I guess he slid to them.
Coop DeJean. It's a great name. That Iowa defense was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. It's the only thing good about that team. So hopefully it just speaks of how amazing he was. You remember last year we talked about on the pod when Iowa, I forget who they were playing, but Iowa's football team, for those that don't follow college football, that's usually me for the most part. But Iowa just had this unbelievable defense, and their offense just could not gain a single yard. Mm-hmm. And one day I was watching them on Saturday. I forget who they were playing. I think the other team was similar. Their offense wasn't very good. And there were two guys the cameras kept showing, and they were just gray T-shirts that said punt, we love punts on it. And there were so many punts in that game, so many punts. And every single time they'd pan to those guys and they're like, woohoo, let's go. It was amazing. It was such a well done move by those guys. And man,
imagine your team being so putrid at offense that you're famous and just loving punts. I mean, that's bad,
dude. They made the most out of the situation. We'll put it that way.
Make the best out of a bad situation. That's what you got to do in life. It's the name of the game. So, all right, we want to. Okay, we'll wrap this up on the Eagles. We are 10 days away from kickoff in Sao Paulo. Yes, 10 days, 8 p.m. I can't believe football's here.
I know.
I mean, college football was back last week. Florida State, number 10, goes down already. God, I love it. That's awesome.
Did you watch the game? It was pretty wild.
It
Lots
was
of
wild.
running the ball. Lots of running the ball.
Looked like Navy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trey Turner with an RBI. There we go.
Yeah. Make it rain, Trey. Make it rain, Trey.
But yeah, is there anything you want to say? I know we're probably going to do Eagles heavy next week, preparing for week 1 preview.
Yeah, I kind of want to save the preview stuff for next week. Nice, Harper. 2 for 2. Sorry, go Phils. We're trying to talk about the Eagles, but these Phils are fighting, and we hate the Houston Astros, bunch of cheating schmucks. But yeah, I think we'll save like the preview stuff and a little bit of like the season outlook stuff for next week, if that's cool with you.
For sure.
I think one other thing we can touch on, I think I saw it yesterday. CD Lamb, maybe it was today even. CD Lamb locked up a deal.
Oh yeah, that was it yesterday?
I thought
it might have even been over the weekend.
I saw that. Saw that it was the second most expensive non-quarterback contract.
Yes.
Second, I said that in a weird way, but I think we get the gist there. They're giving him a lot of money.
Yeah. 4 years, $136 million, I think. Something like that. And why they were going back and forth all offseason. You're like, I'm in no hurry to pay CD Lamb. And then right before the season, Jerry Jones is like, here's all the money. Whatever.
All that drama just to be like, probably get to a point where it's like, Jerry, we have to pay this guy because you dug the hole so deep that I don't know if you've seen his social media, but he's kind of like disassociating himself. We should just pay him. Also, by the way, speaking of yeah, he definitely was. Wide receiver acquisitions, by the way.
Oh, duh. We buried the lead on that one. Duh. Jahan Dotson. What a move, Howie.
What's going on?
And a week ago, we thought Paris Campbell was going to be our wide receiver 3, and now he's not even on the team.
Got him.
There's another, I guess, notable cut was Paris Campbell and John Ross. Neither of those guys are on the active roster. I wouldn't be surprised if Paris Campbell ends up on the.
Oh yeah.
He's old. He even said it himself. He's like, I know my role on this team. I'm going to be a depth piece, third wide receiver, used when I'm needed. So they wanted to keep Johnny Wilson, their rookie pick. They, you let that guy go. It's not a good look. So they want to see what they got of him. Britton Covey, obviously, we're getting back on the Eagles again. Britton Covey's designated as a wide receiver, but is more the punt returner. But yeah, I love Jahan Dotson signing. Great 1-2-3 punch for them.
Dotson's pretty young, is he not?
Yeah, 2022 draft pick from the Lehigh Valley. Saquon and Jahan Dotson, both from the Lehigh Valley, Penn State, now Eagles. Love it.
All right. We got to look up. I'm looking up his contract real quick because I'm pretty sure. Oh, we just got a home run here by Nick Castellanos.
Woo!
Let's go, brother.
Let's
go. We're gonna get in the fills in a little bit here. So it is 2024 currently. Okay. Dahan, he's got, first of all, he's not expensive. His cap hit is like $1.5 million this year. Next year, it's just over $3 million. And his contract is through 26. And 26, it looks like there's a club option. So this is a guy that has years still on his contract at a great rate.
They have him for 3 years of control.
That's unbelievable.
And what they give up? A third round pick?
A third round. I think my memory wants to say a third. I thought it was like and we got a 5 back. Is that what I know? A 5 was involved.
Let me do.
I want to say we got a 5 back or something like that.
I should have had this written down before.
I got it.
You got it.
With 2025 5th round pick for a 25 third round pick, which it says is conditional, and then a 7th, 2 7s. So yeah, we get a 5 as well. So that's surprising. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand that, especially given the contract situation, which is, this guy was drafted 16th overall in 2022, man. 16th. If anything, I would have thought Washington would be looking to move, Scary Terry, because he's a bit older. It's a little bit of a puzzling move, but
yeah, I don't know if Washington is just stupid or if they know something we don't, because I'm surprised they would trade him in division if he's that good. But I like it as a third option. Sign me up. Why not?
I mean, 100% worth the risk. If it honestly, even if it doesn't pan out and we just like gave away a third round pick, that would stink, but 100% worth the risk, in my opinion.
Worth the flyer. Could not agree more.
Yeah,
but
100%.
All right, we finally talked about Jahan Dotson. I can't believe we buried the lead.
Unbelievable.
There's so much stuff that happens in between, us getting together and on a daily basis. Sometimes you just forget things. Trying to recap.
A lot of mouths to feed on that offense. A lot of mouths.
That's fine. I'm gonna run it right down everybody's throat. Throw it down. This offense is gonna be good.
Just score.
Just score some points. But
just score some points.
The Philadelphia Phillies playing right now, up 4-0 in the bottom of the third. Verlander looks like he's trash, which that's fine with me.
He's an old man, Colin.
He looks old. He looks old and grumpy tonight. Butt
chin guy, one of those butt chin guys.
Big time. So the point I was referring to earlier when producer Pat was at the game against the Marlins, that was the game right before the Schwartz Slam when it really seemed like this was the turning point. They lost 5-0 against the Marlins the first night of that 2-game set, and then they won 9-5 when Schwarber put him up 3 with the grand slam. Since that day, they are 8-4, and that includes a weekend series with the Royals where they won Saturday and Sunday, 11 runs apiece, which is the first time all season they've scored back-to-back runs or back-to-back double-digit runs. They have 43 hits over their last 3 games. So the offense is looking really good. I was in the ballpark last night, felt awesome. It was a little bit dicey early because we were like, get hits, guys. I mean, Wheeler's pitching well, and they weren't really – they were getting hits, but they weren't hitting well with runners in scoring position.
Yeah.
Marshy came in big with that Oppo home run. And, they go into extras. Bryce Harper wins it. What's odd is
Joel Embiid. Did you know Joel Embiid was there when you were there?
They showed him on the Jumbotron. Everybody's like, yeah.
Man. He was there in the first couple rows, right?
Yeah, he was into it. He was recording it with his phone. He was loving it.
It's always funny to me when professional athletes, like well over multi-millionaire type dudes, you'd think that they'd be above that kind of thing, and here he is with his cell phone recording baseball game. I just think it's always fun to see that.
Yeah, and a lot of times those guys will like go down in the stands for the first few innings, but then slide up to the suites and get out of the public's eye. But he was right there until the very end.
Yeah, he was. Good thing too. It was a good ending.
Dude, it felt like a playoff game atmosphere, if I'm being honest. I mean, it was a Monday night and the upper bowl wasn't full, but I mean, the lower bowl was rocking. We were in the 300 level, and everybody was going nuts, especially when Altuve came up for the pinch hit. Oh, I've never heard vitriolic boos like that at least in a while. And I was the ringleader. I tried to watch back on the broadcast, see if you could hear it. I had the whole upper section going, "He's a cheater." We had it rocking. It was good.
I don't know. I think the most aggressive unanimous cheer I've ever heard at a Phillies game was the playoff game with Ozuna and the DUI chants. That was pretty awesome. And it was, I mean, you can hear that one, I think, the TV copy. I think it's pretty easy to hear. But yeah, man, I mean, you can't tell me there's not a little extra juice there, especially not just because it's a good baseball team and the history of the cheating with the Astros, but obviously the team that we lost to recently in the World Series. So I would say there's a lot of extra juice there. Not that you can make up for that in this series, but still, it's close to home. Don't want
I absolutely agree. And my dad and I were there last night, but we were also at Game 4 when they got no hit. It's really good to see them not get no hit. I was afraid. I'm like, if we go to back-to-back Astros games and they lose, I'm never going to another Phillies Astros game again because we're the problem. But that's not the case. And they look pretty damn good tonight. So I don't know. Offense looks back. One thing that came up yesterday is that Taijuan Walker is being bumped up a start or bumped up a day. Instead of what a lot of people are calling for in him to not be on the roster at all. Now that's not going to happen, but what are your thoughts on that? Because I have my explanation for it, but I want to get yours first.
On him being bumped up, or just the whole idea of Ty Walker and if he should be on the roster or not?
Well, both. Maybe start with the latter on his performance lately.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because you got a little bit of another contract situation with Walker. I think that he still has 2 years left on his contract, and it's not like he's terribly old. And I don't know that everyone has completely lost faith in his ability to kind of figure it out. I think that everyone has lost faith in his ability to figure it out this season. But I know that your focus is on this season. But I was listening to a podcast the other day, actually, that Phillies Therapy podcast, and they made a good point where, like, this is not a playoff problem. Like, this is irrelevant as far as it goes to like the playoff roster, but it's a seasonal problem in that his job is supposed to be to eat up innings so that you can at least give some rest to the bullpen. And when he's only able to throw 3 or 4 innings, now he's screwing over those other players that we need to be healthy for the playoffs. But I could understand why they would not want to cut him if they believe that they can help him kind of figure it out in the off season. And if you feel like you can kind of get through one more month basically and survive and be okay and maybe supplement it a little bit, maybe that's a little bit like loser's mentality and not focusing on the moment, but I can kind of understand it. Like I don't hate the decision. I can understand why they wouldn't just like want to rush to cutting a guy, especially when there's only one more month left in the season. And it's not like something that should really affect the playoffs itself, because it's not like you're going to replace him with someone that's probably going to be a full participant in the playoffs,
No. Taijuan Walker, if he is still on the team, is not going to see the mound in October. He didn't last year. He's not again. You shrink down to a 4-man rotation in the playoffs, and they have 4 good starters as long as Christopher Sanchez can keep pitching the way he has for most of the season. Taijuan Walker is not going to – go ahead.
And I don't think anyone that you would replace him with would be someone that would play in the playoffs either. You know what I'm saying?
No, not at all. No, Tyler Phillips, Spencer Turnbull, none of those guys are going to be playoff pitchers either. And yeah, they're paying him $72 million over 4 years. So if they cut him, I mean, that's like eating 20. If they cut him right now, they'd be eating like $25 million. And they're not going to do that. Now, he has not been good. He's got a 9.26 ERA in his 3 starts in August. Woo! Not great.
Mama.
Yeah. Yeah, his 3 starts since he came back from the IL, 4 innings, 3 earned runs, 4 2/3, 3 earned runs, and then his last start on Friday, 3 innings, 6 earned runs.
It's bad.
He's not good. I mean, he used to be a guy that could get by with a mid-90s fastball and at least blow some people away with speed, but his fastball is maxing out at like 91. He's getting behind in counts. He I mean, Topper said it.
Yeah.
It's like, he's getting behind in counts, so he had to throw strikes, and he's just been getting shelled. But I can explain why they're doing this, looking at the schedule. So tomorrow is the third of the three against the Astros. And then they start 4 with the Braves. By having him pitch tomorrow, even if they're going to probably maybe win tonight. The game tomorrow against the Astros does not mean nearly as much as the first game against the Braves do on a 4-game series at home. And this means that Taijuan Walker does not have to pitch against the Braves. They will have their 4 main starters go against the Braves, and then I believe they play Toronto for 2, and he will pitch against Toronto.
100%.
So I can see why they're doing that. They're avoiding him in one of the biggest series of the season, this 4-game homestand against the Braves, and they're minimizing the possible damage that could be done to them by having Taijuan Walker pitch. You do not want to start a 4-game series with the Braves at home by getting your doors blown off because of your starting pitcher. So it makes a lot of sense when you look at it, and I'm pretty sure that's why they decided to do it.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, you cut out there for a little bit.
Oh, did I?
The connection is so bad today. I don't know why.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to reboot.
All right, 10-4. We're going to do a little live play.
It's clean now. It's clean now. It's clean now.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So sorry if I'm repeating something that you just said, but the Braves are only 6 games back. Yes. So that's why obviously there's such an emphasis on making sure that we focus on that series and do well in that series. And to me, it's not just that he would pitch one of the games. It's that he was set to pitch the first game, kind of a tone setter. It would really suck if we go into this really big, important series and we start the first game with like a 6-7 run loss, So I think it's even beyond him just pitching in this series, which that's enough, but it's also, we don't really want to set the tone necessarily with him on the bump, which sucks because it's obviously not good for hit. Like he's going to understand that. And coach probably isn't going to say that, but you can read between the lines and pretty easily understand why it's happening that way, which sucks because it doesn't help his confidence, but got to be honest with the situation. If you're going to keep him around, you got to be honest with the situation.
Yeah, put him in the spots where it's not going to kill you, which is the third of 3 against the Astros and not the first game in literally the most important series of the season to this point. Because, they've slid back a little bit. I looked it up. They were at one point 29 games over 500, and that was the day before they went to London. That was their best record percentage-wise of the season, and now they're only 23 games over 500, so they've been 6 games under since London. They're, still the second best record in the NL, third best record in baseball. They haven't fallen back that much. They're just not playing as well as they were in May and June, which was unrealistic to think you could do that all season.
Yeah, couldn't sustain that.
No.
But they have to play better than they have over the last couple weeks, or honestly, since the All-Star break, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. They are 8-4 in their last 12 after they lost that 4 in a row against Arizona and the Miami game. So they're hitting the ball well. They're taking advantage of good outings like they did last night with Wheeler. It was good to see them not waste that one.
Mm-hmm.
So, as long as Taijuan Walker doesn't kill them, and to be honest, everybody's hitting the ball well. Over the last 7 games, the player with the worst batting average is Alec Boehm, batting 143.
Yeah, how funny is that? He's been the one guy who's been hot and keeping it up when everyone else is cold. So good to see Marsh remember how to hit a baseball.
Woo! He's been so much better.
It was tough to watch for a while there, man. Tough to watch. A guaranteed strikeout once or twice a game.
At least once, usually twice.
And then it got to point where he was just having such a hard time, then he started to kind of like complain and shake his head about called strikes that were definitely in the box, but frustration was clearly bubbling over. And then that's tough to see because it's like, Marshy, that was a strike, but
Yeah.
just that's a dark place when you're in a hole like that, dude.
He's seemingly dug himself out of it, which is good to see. I mean, I can't remember the last time he hit an opposite field home run. So it was good for them to get on the board with that last night. You know what's funny is I made a parlay before the game yesterday since I was going to be there. 6-way parlay, 10-1 odds. I hit every one except for Alec Boehm anytime hit. I nailed everything else, but Boehm didn't get a hit. I probably should have looked at the most recent stats before I did that. Oh well.
It's such a funny sport, man. When it seems like when more than any other sport, hot guys stay hot and cold guys stay cold. And it just feels like that. Maybe because it's such an everyday sport, but it seems so freaking streaky. It's actually really crazy.
Yeah, and they're streaking well right now. I just really hope that the skid that they were on for most of August does not, that was the only one they have for the season. The bats don't go cold all at once in early October. This team just has so much talent, and we saw how good they can be. I'd be devastated if we don't maximize this opportunity, because over the next 2 years, it's probably going to be the best era of the Bryce Harper section that the Phillies have to maximize a world championship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Wheeler and Nola are both getting older. Turner and Harper are both getting older. I mean, they're in win now mode.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely in win now mode. This is the window. The window is as open as it will be. Not that it's going to be closed next year, but to your point, this is the time to do it. I was just going to say, the way that I see it and the stats I've looked at, I'm trying to get month by month stats here, but how crazy is it that, as far as I can tell, I think the most consistent hitter maybe since the All-Star break, just consistently hitting around the same average, just not really getting too cold. Nick Castellanos, dude. He's been steady, dude. Steady.
He's been the only bat that hasn't gone cold. And this is after we were ripping him for the first 2-3 months of the season. We're like, he's swinging at pitches just to swing the bat. And whatever he did to figure it out is working, and it hasn't faded away. Even when most of the bats went cold, Castellanos was the one who was still knocking in singles and doubles and, getting their only RBIs for games. He's been great. He's swinging so consistently. He's not flailing at pitches the way he was early in the season. I mean, he just hit a 3-run homer tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the guy's hitting really well, and good for him, because when he goes well, the Phillies do well.
So I got some stats here to just back that up. Let's see, 4th month of the year, April. Yeah.
Yes, April.
183.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
May 229.
Yep.
June, this is batting average, of course. June 276. July 275. August 294. So he has been 276, 275, 294 since the All-Star break. He has been a upper 200s hitter, especially compared to the first couple months of the year where he truly was very bad. And it's not like the bat has gotten red hot, like he's hitting a homer every night, but he's just been wildly consistent. And that's not really the Nick Castellanos that I remember. He's been more of a hot, cold kind of guy from my memory. So it's pretty cool to see that he's just he's doing his best Alec Boehm impersonation.
Yeah. And he was getting so much flack from the fans because everyone else on the team was playing so well and hitting so well that first month and a half. He was the only one not. And now over the last month, it's almost been the opposite. I mean, Bohm's still been good, and he's have sparks here and there from Harper and Turner, but over the long scheme of things, like you said, since the All-Star break, he's been their most consistent hitter and shows it up night in and night out. And I'm glad to see it because he's way better than the person he was in April and May.
Oh, yeah.
And personally, I love the vibes. Nicky vibes. I mean, I want to see more interviews of him.
I want more of those Scooby-Doo interviews with him. I need more Nicky Castellanos insight in my life.
Exactly.
Make you think a little bit deeper about things, change your perspective a little bit.
I want to be inside the mind of Castellanos and hear what goes through that guy's brain.
Dude,
I get paid to hit baseball.
Yeah, his picture on ESPN is just like perfect. It really does display. You can just like see his whole personality pretty much. He is exactly who he is. He is exactly who he is.
Yeah, he's got that deadpan, like, really, dude. That's pretty much what his headshot says.
He's definitely the same person every single day. You know exactly what you're getting.
Absolutely. So, all right, let's look forward here a little bit. They're looking good against the Astros tonight. 4 games with the Braves. How do you think that's going to go? I mean, they have a pretty tough stretch, and it started with this Astros series. Actually, that's not technically true. It started with the Atlanta series last week. Good to see them at least split the road trip 3-3 after it looked pretty bleak because they were at 1.1-3 before they roped them on the weekend. So, yeah, Houston tomorrow to finish out the series, 4 against Atlanta, and then on the road for 2 against Toronto. It was not as good as they once were, but still a good team.
Did you say on the road for 2? Is it one of those
weird two-game set up in Toronto? They tend to do that against the AL, whether it's Boston or New York or whoever. The local AL teams, Baltimore, sometimes they can slide out for 2 games. You obviously can't do that against the AL teams out west, but I feel like they always have a 2-game set against the Blue Jays.
I'm trying to think the pitchers that we're going to see. I'm sure we're going to see Max Fried. Schwellenbach is going tonight. So if someone's going tonight, that means we would probably see them on Sunday, correct?
Yes, I have the projected starters. Charlie Morton, Lopez, I forget his first name.
Reynaldo
Lopez, Max Fried, and then Schwellenbach on Sunday. So we're getting the meat of their starting pitching.
Fun fact, Reynaldo Lopez, he was a reliever last year. I think it was White Sox and then Angels. And no, it was Angels and Guardians, which makes, I don't know which, and White Sox. Okay. He was on all 3 of those teams last year. I don't know the exact order. I feel like he started on the White Sox and then it was probably Guardians and then Angels. Anyways, I believe his story is that he was a free agent in the offseason, and he was like a pretty good reliever last year. And he was going to sign a contract. Most teams wanted to sign him to like a bullpen situation, basically. And I think I heard that it was his wife that was like encouraging him to pursue being a starting pitcher. I guess it's something he had kind of done like in the distant past, and he'd like thought about it, and I guess she like pushed him to do it. I tell you what, man. What a move, because he has been, it's weird to say. It's weird to say, but he has been one of the best starting pitchers in baseball this year. Straight up. The guy he's got what, like a 2.0, is that right? A 2.02 ERA, dude? Are we serious right now? He's been unbelievable. He just had gotten hurt for the last little while. He's a phenomenal pitcher. I feel like he's their version of what's his name? Ranger Suarez, just because it was kind of like a uncovered diamond from the bullpen.
Yeah, 2.02 ERA on the season.
ERA. Are you kidding me, dude? He was a reliever last year. That's insane.
That is insane. 1.18 whip. It's pretty good.
Really good.
Strike to walkout ratio 2.9. All right. Yeah, we're getting the meat of the lineup or pitching staff from the Braves. I don't know. The Braves always give us trouble unless it's in the playoffs. But I like that it's at home. I love that it's at home.
Oh yeah.
Man, the bank is going to be rocking this weekend. Odd. 4 night games in a row because the Saturday night one is on Fox, and we finally get Sunday night baseball. I think we get Sunday night baseball for the first time all season.
No, that's not true. That is not true.
Okay.
Come on, you know this. It's because remember Brandon Marsh came up with the band. Remember when he was mic'd up and he came up with
yeah.
I want to say this is our third time, but that at least our second. I think it's our third though.
Keep it loose and sexy, baby.
Keep it loose and sexy, dude. Yeah. I'm sure that was a Sunday night game.
It was. Yeah, you're right. I completely forgot about that. I don't know how I could because that was one of the that was when we got Raffy too.
Raffy, yeah. Did you see his bat that he used?
Yep.
For the Little League weekend or whatever. Yeah. That's fun. Those bats are fun.
I did. Yeah, I like the Players Weekend.
And then Bryce Harper used a bat that was just like a bunch of scribbled up coloring, basically. I guess a bunch of kids drew whatever they wanted on there. God, love it, dude. First game, you said Charlie Morton pitches the first game, right?
Yes.
Got to jump on that guy. A contact pitcher, contact Charlie Morton. Let's not ground the ball into the dirt like he wants us. Let's just come out early and rip him up. Charlie Morton, contact pitcher. I got no belief in contact pitchers. Crush the ball. Come on, boys.
Yeah, Schwellenbach's been pitching very well.
Very well. But we just saw him, so hopefully that means we got a better idea of what we're getting into with him.
Yeah, he got the win, but 3-2 loss. They've had a lot of those this year. Not a lot of losses, 3-2, which sucks because if you get if you only give up 3 runs, you should be able to win a game. I don't know. I'm in a way better place with the Phillies than we were 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And thank God, because that was getting depressing. I was like, hate watching the Phillies. I'm like, really? You're going to do this again to us?
They were really pissing me off because they were playing not only were they playing some games where they couldn't hit the ball, the hitting was bad. At times, the pitching was bad. And then what really pushes you over the edge is when the defense starts getting shitty. Once you start seeing Trey Turner muff balls at shortstop and then they look sloppy in the field, I'm sorry. There is no excuse for that crap. You know, if you get cold with the bat, it happens, but come on, like the defense, in my opinion, then you just start looking sloppy on defense. That's like a really bad sign, in my opinion, whenever you start seeing that.
Yeah, for sure. It just means somebody's not locked in and they're just head's not into it, but looks way better now. What do you say, Dan? Should we wrap it up so we can go watch? Well, you have a big day of work tomorrow, so I know you need to get to sleep, and I'd like to check out the rest of this game because the Phils are finally fun to watch again.
Yeah, they're fun to watch again. Let's go, Phils. Let's call it. Let's go get some Phillies in, and we will come back next week. We will do some Eagles season preview, some preview for week 1, and then I'll have a fun I'll do the where are they now next week.
Love it. I love it. Yeah.
Eagles.
That'll be a good precursor into the regular season, which starting today, we are back every week from now until the Super Bowl, unless something pops up. But the plan is back weekly, baby. Summer, we're always a little bit hit or miss, and schedules, vacations. It's only the Phillies, which is fine. But now there's sports to talk about. Go Birds.
Yeah, time to get back in the film room, man. Can't wait.
That too. Maybe I said it last week. I can't remember. Last year was the first time I ever watched film, and I feel like it made me such a better football fan. And because I'm looking for so many different things now while the game is going on, instead of just kind of watching it. I'm looking at the more intricate parts of the game, and I love it.
Gives you so much a better Eagles appreciation.
Fan. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, sir.
All right, Dan, you got any words of wisdom for the people on the way out?
I would just say always be kind. But if you can't be kind, at least be vague.
Fair enough. If you don't have anything nice to say, be vague about it.
All right, brother. Go Phils. Great talking with you.
Likewise, as always. All right, everybody, thank you for listening. This has been Del Valley Sports Pod, episode number 46. We will talk to you next week.
Go Birds.